when we debated the economics of SASSA, they all said to me, "Yeah, you're just trying to make a lot of money in the post office." I said, "I'll do it for free." They said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, it's not my money. If you want to allocate the profit to post office, help yourself. If you want to take it all out and put it into education, it's your money. But for goodness sake, let's not give it away. And never mind crossing the fiscal line, let's not cross the geographical sovereign line and take that money offshore." Okay, so every cent that we bring back into the fiscal pot is a gain for the state. And I tell you that number runs into billions just in SASSA. Okay, so we've got the capital now to invest in the technologies to do these kinds of things. So the backlog grows at a hell of a rate if you don't attend to it. So about April last year, 2018, we ran out of money. And we didn't pay all of our creditors. And we didn't pay our trucks, and we didn't pay all of these kinds of things. And eventually, people stop giving you credit. They close the branch, they don't bring the trucks and whatever. And so we ran up a backlog of 48 million items of post. It's not a lot, just a few weeks worth. It's a hell of a lot to undo, particularly when you think of the order of things. Now, post is actually growing, but it's changing in its composition. So we're getting more and more parcels, less and less letters, more and more bits, less and less flat things. Okay. There's a major problem with that. And it's a problem that Trump identified. I think it's the only thing he's got right in his entire presidency. Okay. Is that the economic equation between the West and the East, as far as post is concerned, is not sustainable. The West imports junk from the East and exports value to the East, okay? As a consequence of that, we end up doing lots and lots and lots of little things, and the economics of a postal event goes primarily to the originator of the post. Are you all kind of with me? So if China sends us 50,000 49-cent earrings, they get all the postal revenue bar a little bit, we get all the hassle. Why? Because we clear customs inside post. So we have to scan every 49-cent earring in case one of them is a diamond. Because we've got to keep something, right? So that is clogging up the system. We have got far more, we've got a 400% growth in the last year in international e-commerce, if you want to call it, although I don't like that broad definition, internet order generated business, which is clogging up our system. It's clogging up the system in Canada, it's clogging up the system in Germany, it's clogging up the system in Japan, it's clogging up the system everywhere. Nowhere in the world did they anticipate the move from a physical mall to a postal mall, to an electronic mall. I mean, we're way behind the activity curves in that world. People are not going to shops anymore, okay? So that's a big problem for post. And we have, the only advantage we've got is we've got nothing invested in legacy systems. So we don't have to throw stuff away, we just have to buy new stuff, okay? Which we're going to use other people's money to buy because we've got other businesses which are now essential and give us capital, okay? So we've now reduced that down to, we are, in terms of the standard, we are 100% on standard for local mail. The standard worldwide is 92% delivered within the specified time. Let me put that in perspective for you in real numbers. If we're doing 3 million to round the numbers, and let's assume 1 million of that is letters, and let's assume we're 90% on TAC a day. That leaves you with what, 80,000 letters a day that are not being delivered on time? Or whatever, okay? And if 10% of those people complain, you've got 8,000 complaints a day, and it's a nightmare, okay? That's the first thing. So we are now within standard locally. We're about 500,000 to 1.3 million. It changes every day, but I get it every day on my phone in international items that are behind. But they're not all treated the same. So people are waiting for ages for their Economist magazine. Okay. Well, why? Because it's second-grade mail. Magazines are subsidized mail. Okay. And we also think in the post office, magazines you get at a much cheaper rate than if it wasn't a magazine and it was just something that size and that weight that you posted. So when you're looking at a pile of stuff to sort, you've got to make some decisions about which stuff is going to get priority, and that's what we do. Okay, so we get into trouble every single day, but we get into less trouble than we did when I started. When I started, I got about 400 to 500 emails a week of complaints. I'm now getting about 80 a week of complaints. So that's a big change, and that's been verified by politicians. We subject ourselves to the portfolio committee, and the chief Mona said to me yesterday, Mark, I used to get 3 complaints a day. I'm now getting 1 every 2 weeks. We feel pretty cool about that. But there are always going to be complaints. We're always going to be, we're not going to find every single letter every single day. Okay. If you want to then talk about SASSA, our ambition was, our target was 8.5 million of the 11 million beneficiaries, because the others had so-called commercial bank accounts. So they were already in the formal banking system. Of that 8.5 million, we've got 7.5 million going through the post office now, very successfully. And the others will come. And the reason why they'll come is because banking is a very expensive business in this country. You might not notice the 21 Rand switch fee or the 20 Rand withdrawal fee or the 8 Rand, I don't know, I'm making the numbers up. If you take it as a percentage of your social grant, it is not competitive, okay? And for us, that's free, okay? Shameless plug, I think they call it. But what's happening is that people, when they work all of that economics out, are going to migrate. One of the biggest costs we have in SASSA is the delivery of cash. We pay close to R1 billion a year to deliver that cash through cash and transit companies. Okay, I went to the police. Remember what the driver is? Bring it in the state, build state capacity, cancel state dependency. I went to the police and I go, guys, can you start delivering cash? And we haven't got the armored trucks and we don't do that. I said, well, here's my budget, it's 900 million a year. You want some of that? And the discussions start becoming real. And we start saying, well, can we build that capacity in the state? Can we stop leasing things that on a properly economic calculation we should buy? Okay, and that the reason we did everything wrong for so long is because we had no money. And I can tell you that that is at the root of our economic divide in South Africa, is that the cost per unit of consumption is the highest for the poorest. The cost of a cigarette, a minute of airtime, or an apple costs much more if you're poor than if you're rich, because you can't afford to buy bulk or wholesale or a head.